MacVoices is supported by LinkedIn Jobs. Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. Pay what you want and get $50 off your first job post at linkedin.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we are starting to see a lot of the announcements that surround NAB coming out. For those of us who are audio and video enthusiasts and streaming enthusiasts and production enthusiasts. And that's why I wanted to get Jim Tierney from Digital Anarchy back here to talk about their announcement of Transcriptive 2.0. Jim, good to see you again, as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Chuck.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. We've been sort of talking to you as Transcriptive has gone from the beta phase out into now it's a 2.0. And I definitely wanted to kind of catch everyone up with what the feature set is and what the status is of Transcriptive. Because it seems like we're seeing machine learning everywhere now in everything. And you were some of the first discussions we had about anything machine learning related.
Yeah. Well, AI is the new VR, which was the new 3D TV. So that's the most recent buzzword that everybody has a product for. It's some cool technology. I think there's some really great uses of it out there. I think, of course, Transcriptive, I think, is one of them. I think there's also this tendency of everybody to throw AI into the conversation when it doesn't always need to be there.
No, I agree with you. But that said, yours was one of those products that definitely, I didn't think it was a buzzword. I thought it was just a real, okay, this is based on AI, or maybe not based on, but is enhanced materially by AI. And
well,
so
it's definitely based on it, right? Excuse me. One of the tricks with AI is building the tools around it to actually make it useful within a production environment. The speech to text is great, but depending on the quality of the audio, the results may or may not be perfect. And so knowing enough about video editors to figure out what they would want and what they need from a transcription-based tool was kind of the key thing. And then just building those tools around the AI to make it easy to edit, make it easy to save out its captions, just make it easy to make use of what the AI was giving back to you.
So Transcriptive is now at 2.0. So what additions have there been to this? And you know what? I'm going to take that question back. Maybe for the folks who haven't heard about this, let's start with just a basic description of what Transcriptive is.
Sure. So what it is, it's a plugin for Premiere. And we use AI to turn the audio into text. And then that text comes back within Premiere. And every word has time code. So as you click on the different words, it'll jump to that point in your timeline. You can edit it. It's basically a word processor within Premiere for editing these transcripts. And then, of course, you can export it out as either markers on your timeline or as caption files or text files. And so on a basic level, that's what it is.
And I know in our previous conversations, you've taught me a lot about the concept of video editing through the transcription, which is something I never would have thought about. And folks, maybe Jim, tell me if this is a decent example, but this is the way I understand it. That if I say now a word from our sponsor, and I'm doing the editing for that, I'll be able to search on, say, the word sponsor. It'll take me right to that spot. I won't have to search for it, and I'll be able to insert, say, an ad spot in there or make whatever adjustments need to be made. Is that a fair example?
Yeah. So one of the things that having all of your audio as text opens up is stuff like search. One of the big new features with 2.0 is something that we're calling clip mode, where you can click on a clip and just see the transcript for that clip. But then you can also set in and out points in that transcript and then insert that into a sequence that you're working on. And that kind of enables the editing with text part. So you can do a search for, sponsor, see all the areas where that shows up, and then start clicking on, setting some in and out points, dropping that into your sequence. And it just opens up a lot of possibilities that, just having everything as text is just a really cool way of, searching everything and also doing some editing.
Again, when we first started talking about transcriptive, it's like, okay, yeah, great, transcriptions, that's wonderful, because there's so many things you can do with transcriptions. But this takes it to a whole different, it takes it in a whole different direction for the video editors and video producers who are trying to turn out more things faster and easier. And I think it's really important that folks understand some of this, and what it can do for them if they're in video production, and if they're not, it helps to know, and it's kind of nice to know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is that we're launching at NAB is the website version. And we've kind of had the website version in beta for a while. But what this allows you to do is take a transcript and a video in Premiere, upload that to the web, and let a producer or client or whatever, view the transcript, view the video, make comments on it, and then, edit it, and then they can send that back to you in Premiere. So it becomes a really great way of doing, paper cuts and paper edits to, client review and stuff like that.
So the client won't be editing it. They will, they'll be, like you said, a paper
they can. I mean, they can edit the transcript, right? So if you want to hand off one of the things we found is most video editors don't love editing text. That's not what they're, shooting for. So, the ability to hand it off to the client and say, like, can you clean this up? Because all the company names or person names or product names or whatever. And so can you clean this up and then send it back to me? That's one of the uses we're seeing for it. The other uses are, instead of printing out, a piece of paper or sending somebody a Word doc, they can actually send them the script synced up with the video, and they can, review, the client or the producer can review what they're seeing. So just lots of great ways of enabling collaboration for people that don't have Premiere. And they can just use a web browser to see all this stuff.
Okay, so take me through a workflow. You've sort of alluded to it. So I have the video of this interview, all right, and I want to do it with Transcriptive on the web so that you can look at it and approve it, and do whatever editing there is. So what am I uploading to the web?
Well, the whole process is, if you're in Premiere, you're going to transcribe the video. We're going to save out the audio file, transcode just the audio, upload that to the cloud, and then that's going to get transcribed. That'll return a text file back to Premiere, and then that'll be showing in Premiere, all synced up to your video. And then if you want to share that onto the web, then you just say, hey, I want to share this project or this video, and that's going to upload a thumbnail version of the video plus the transcript. That's going to go up to the web, and then whoever you're sharing that to can then play the video back. The words will be highlighted as the video plays, as the words are spoken. They can follow along with the text, and then they can edit and make whatever changes they need to.
Okay, so you used the phrase a thumbnail version. So, is it just still thumbnails, or is it? I guess where I'm going with this is how much bandwidth and how much time am I going to be sending a 30-minute interview up?
Right. So, I think we're transcoding it down to 640 by 360, and it's pretty compressed because if you're working on a 4K file, we don't really need that just for reviewing the transcript, right? So we're not going to export out the 4K video file and try and upload that, there's just, for this particular use case, there's not really any need for that. So the the bandwidth limit, it shouldn't really require that much. Obviously, still, if it's a 30-minute file, it's still going to be a sizable file. So if you're working on a dial-up modem, it might not work so well. But if you have reasonably fast internet, then it's really not a painful process.
I was about to make a joke. It's like, do they really make those anymore? But, not all parts of the world have fast internet. So, yeah, they do. And if you're in that part of the world, you probably are not going to want to use this feature. But for most of us, the floor has definitely been raised so that this kind of thing becomes viable.
Yeah. And, if you're trying to, if you're using your phone hotspot, for example, that might not be the best way to upload the video. But, it really depends on how long it is, right? So if you have a 2-hour sequence and you're trying to upload that, even super compressed, that's still probably going to be a few hundred megabytes at least. If it's a 5-minute video, then that wouldn't be a problem even on a phone hotspot. But it's really going to depend on how much video you want to upload.
I know we've talked about this.
We do our best to compress it down so that they aren't huge files that we're sending out.
Well, and that makes perfect sense. That's like you said, you don't need that kind of quality video. And 640 by 360, you're right. It still has the potential to be relatively large, but not so large as to be unreasonable, especially in today's world of streaming. So I'm very pleased to tell you that LinkedIn Jobs is sponsoring this edition of MacVoices. I use LinkedIn for professional reasons, and pretty much every business person I know uses LinkedIn. In fact, anyone who wants to connect with anyone else for business uses LinkedIn. That's why when you need to hire your next great employee, you need to look at LinkedIn Jobs first. LinkedIn Jobs is the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires. Set a daily budget to control your spend or a total budget, and only pay for job post views from prospective applicants, not a fixed fee or an upfront fee. Let LinkedIn screen for not only the technical skills you're looking for, but also for those soft skills that can make your hire the best it can be. Find out why every 8 seconds someone is hired from LinkedIn Jobs by visiting linkedin.com/MacVoices and take $50 off your first posting. That's linkedinjobs.com to pay what you want and save $50 off your first posting. Terms and conditions apply. Thanks to LinkedIn Jobs for supporting MacVoices. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but can you run through why, at least at this point, we're Premiere only and not something like Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve or some of the others?
Well, because to do it, we're making use of Premiere's panel API, which, up until recently, nobody really had anything comparable. Final Cut has added in something similar. It's not exactly the same, but it gets a little bit closer to what Premiere had or has. But unfortunately, it's not something that we can easily port. It's all written in JavaScript and, using web technologies. So in theory, you should be able to get it around, but, the Premiere API is very specific. And, like what Final Cut did is very different. So it's just not an easy thing to just pick up out of Premiere and drop it into Final Cut. Right. We've gotten pretty good about doing that with the visual effects plugins, where we can, just write them once and then send it out to different targets, whether it's Final Cut or Resolve or Premiere or whatever. But with this, it's a little bit of a different beast. So, that's one of the reasons we have the web version, is to, allow other people using other different apps to have some access to it. But we are looking at the Final Cut solution, and we would like to get it over there. But
well, that's
always down the line, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really like about this is that if you have a client, I mean, you're not asking them to do anything other than fire up a web browser.
Right.
They can. It's sort of like as folks know, I use Zoom to record this, and one of the things I really like about Zoom is, as opposed to some of the other solutions where you might have to have an account, so you've got to log into your account. I have to figure out how to get to you. What is your username? And all that. With this, I just say, hey, we're going to talk at this time on this date and about this long, and I can send you a link and you click it and bang, it opens up. And if you don't have the app, then it opens up in the browser. And so that's kind of what Transcriptive is doing here in a video editing and production environment.
Yeah, definitely. It's just it's just about making access to this stuff easier. Because often producers or clients or whatever don't have Premiere or any video editing app, and they're not video editors, and you wouldn't want them to go into Premiere to like sort out what's going on there. So having everything in a browser, very similar to how you're used to viewing YouTube videos, but with the bonus of having the entire transcript there and having the words highlighted as they're being spoken in the video just makes for a pretty cool review process.
Yeah, I can't help but share this. But the number of times I will email someone and ask for a graphic file, say of a company logo or whatever, and I'll get a 40 by 60 JPEG back off of their website. And so no, please, could you send me the EPS version? So then I get another email that, well, I got this from our marketing department, but I can't open it, so I'm not sure if this is the right file. It's like, fine, send it to me. You just don't have the right software. Yeah. It's the awareness of that kind of thing. And you're right. Oh, can you imagine sending somebody a Premiere file or whatever and ask them to open it, and they just go into shock?
Well, and then like trying to relink all of the video files and everything else.
Yeah. What could go wrong? Yeah. Oh man. So we have to at some point ask about the cost of this, both transcriptive and the service, because right here we've just said anything from a short clip up to 2 hours. So what kind of pricing are we talking about for this?
So right now it's $299 for the plugin. We're going to be doing some pretty cool NAB specials. So keep your eyes posted for that. But then also the cost per minute is either 8 cents if you just kind of pay as you go, or if you're willing to buy the minutes in bulk, you can get that down to 4 cents a minute, so that you're paying $2.40 an hour for $2.40 an hour for transcription.
Okay.
And especially for English, the accuracy is really off the charts at this point.
Yeah, and so that's not bad at all for that an hour's worth of transcription, for lots of reasons. But that's
nice.
It's
just what we're hoping is that it allows people to basically transcribe everything, or a large amount of stuff. And then, you can use the search functions to search through all your footage to, easily find, what people were saying things. So if that somebody said something and you've got, you're shooting a doc and you've got 100 hours of footage, and that, one of your interviewees said something somewhere, but you don't know what tape that's on or what media file it's in or whatever. It just makes it much easier to search through all that stuff, find it, and then do the edit from there.
That's another great point, an obvious point that I really wouldn't have thought of, because that's not the kind of shooting I do. But if you had gigabytes and gigabytes of files, the last thing you want to do is try to play through it and find that stuff. But if it's been transcribed, a quick search and you've got it up and running.
Yeah, so that's one of the use cases we're seeing a lot. And one of the reasons that people work on documentaries just love the software is really makes the workflow much smoother in terms of being able to find stuff. And they've got a lot of interviews, and trying to sort through all that stuff is pretty difficult. In a traditional way. We've had customers come to us like, this is the book of transcripts that I traditionally work off of. And it's 3-inch thick binder full of paper transcripts. And so hopefully we're saving a few trees and making some editors' lives easier.
Who would, at this stage, Jim, who would still work off of a paper transcript? It seems like such an obvious thing
it's a thing. I mean, most people are sending like Word docs back and forth, I think, but I think there is something for paper, being able to mark it up pretty easily. And if you're just working with somebody in the next room over, handing them a paper transcript is, I can see the reasons for it, but we're hoping to make kind of a digital version of it, and that allows people to be able to mark up and add comments more easily, and get away from having to have these physical transcripts lying around.
Okay, so that brings up an interesting question that I really would not have thought about. To go back to the original concept of transcribing. Is there a way for you to export, say, your transcript out of Transcriptive into a Word file, or at least a text file of some kind?
Sure. Yeah. You can save it out as, RTF, rich text file, is probably the best way to get it out. And then, that'll open up in, Pages on the Mac or Word on any platform or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you want to send somebody a text file, you can do that too.
I mean, it seemed obvious, but I had to ask it because, if there's somebody that really wants that, then okay, fine, print your own. But
a lot of people are doing well. I mean, aside from being able to print it, that's the workflow a lot of people have is, save this out as a Word doc, and then you can send it to somebody. Somebody can use all the markup features in Word to delete stuff, to add comments, to whatever, and then that gets sent back to the editor. That's a really common workflow of using a Word doc. And so, again, that's one of the things we're really trying to, if people want to do it that way, they can, but, allowing people to have a digital version of that's online, that the markup that they send can be pulled right into Premiere, and the Premiere editor can look at all the comments or all the markups or whatever, right within Premiere without having to look at Word, go back to Premiere, look at Word, go back to Premiere. We're trying to make that a little bit easier and just have everything be in Premiere.
The more I understand what you're doing with this and how it works, the more I can see how it just could save hours, maybe days worth of time trying to get things to the client's satisfaction. So yeah, very nice, very nice. And I'm sure 2.0 is not the end of the road.
Oh no, I mean we're still working on it. Well, I mean we have, we're up to 203 right now. So the next thing we're coming out with is the web version that should be announced and released by NAB. We just announced this new package plan for the minutes, so you can get the cost down to 4 cents a minute. And so we're probably going to take a little bit of a break after that because we have other products. Transcriptive is not the only product that we have, so I think some of the other products need a little bit of love. And we have some ideas for new stuff. So, we've been working on Transcriptive for a while. So, we'll just still do bug fixes, and there still is plans for 3.0. But we are going to shift our focus to some of the visual effects plugins for a little bit after NAB, and then come back to Transcriptive probably later in the year.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, you got to keep everything current. There's no question. So the website where folks can go to learn more and sign up or buy it and start doing all these wonderful things we've been talking about is
digitalanarchy.com. And like I said, we're going to have some pretty cool specials going on around NAB. So definitely check the website for how to get it for a little bit less than $2.99.
Perfect. Well, Jim, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's always good to hear, and I always learn stuff when I talk to you. So come back soon and teach me more.
All right. Thanks, Chuck. I appreciate it. Great being
folks. Here. Yeah, it's always good to see you. I really it's always fun. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices. We'll be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.